good morning, everybody. Hope you can hear me okay, because I've got this one shut off on the mic, and I'm using it on my phone because that's where I'm going to be working down at the other end. Yeah, so I guess it's you and Allie, Steve, and who else is there? I don't see anybody else on the chat, but I see 3 names, so I'll assume there's 3 people. I will try and keep up with the chat, but it's going to be at my back. Oh, Jason's here. Hey, Jason. Good to see you. Hey, Walmer's here. You'll get kind of a sneak peek of what I've been doing on the layout with this. I'm going to try and get my mount for my other control panel on this far end down here put up today. We'll see how that goes. It may be too boring, but I am going to have, like I say, I'm going to have trouble keeping up with chat today. So, because Steve's not here, his wife's sick, so he's not here today. But I'll change this shot. See if I can give you a no. Be like that. And see some of the stuff I got done. Anyway, like I say, I'm going to be trying to put up this control panel on the far end. It's going to look like this one, but it's not going to be near as big. So anyway, we shall go, and I'll try and check chat as I go. In fact, why don't I do this? Can you hear me okay when I'm down on this end? Hey, there's Dennis. Dennis, I thought you were working. Are you not working? Good morning, John. Dennis, are you working or can you come on? Ah, okay. Well, never mind then. Well, anyway, like I say, I'll try and keep up with chat. I'll be back and forth. You can ask Steve some questions. He knows a little bit about what I've been doing. He won't know anything about what I'm doing today, probably, but if you want, you can holler at Steve. If he's in chat, when he's in chat. Anyway, this is the main little bracket I'm going to have for the control panel. You see how small it's going to be. And hope that's showing okay. Yeah, okay. So it's going to go right here in this location. And it'll mount right on the front, just similar to the bigger one that I had. And it'll control, there's only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turnouts here that it'll control. But they're out of the main yard. So, and then this turnout over here is going to be a manual turnout. Anyway, that's what I'm going to mount right here. I got my stuff from Kevin over at Barrett Hill to put on here. I don't know that I'll get to all that today. I know my face isn't finished yet, my screen. I've got it partially painted. But I may take you downstairs and show you that process too here in just a little bit. But I needed to bring this up here to see how it was going to fit in place and see what I needed to do to get it mounted. I'm mounting these in just like this, and then the fascia is going to come. The fascia is going to come right up to the edge of this. I'm going to put it over here. this to be actually that right there. Okay, so I need a couple of pieces in there like that. And I'll be running in and out because I'll have to go get things, I'm sure, from downstairs to get this mounted on here. Oh, those are downstairs. All right, so move this over. Yeah, Jason, it'll be black. The face is all going to be black, just like this is over here on this side and this here. And I thought about dark green and a tan color, and I thought black had set it off the best. So that's the way I'm going to go. Let's do it that way. Okay. Run downstairs right quick. Be right back. Okay, sorry for having to run down there, but I kind of figured that was going to happen. Had to grab a few things to mount this with, and mount the control boxes. These are the these are two of the different styles they have. This is 4-port. This is a 2-port. On the main board, I've got two 8-ports, and just depends on how many toggles you need for your turnouts. But these do plug together. I can turn the right way. They plug together like this, and then you can power just one side, and it'll power the whole thing and power all your turnout motors. Yeah, I think we can get it on there. It's just gonna be a hair short. Okay, so we're gonna turn it this way. Just like that. For those of you that don't think prices or inflation's gone up yet or done anything yet, about 4 or 5 months ago, these right here were $5 a box. They're 1.25" drywall screws. I paid $8 for them the other day for 1 pound. So that give you a little bit of idea what's happened with prices here lately. It'll give me plenty to mount this on. This will be behind the fascia board, so it doesn't really matter where it sits as long as you can reach the panel with your toggles. And you can use extensions on the toggles. They use the same wires to hook up as do excuse me, as do RC servos. Airplanes, we had to use a lot of extensions just to get to the servo. But these are the same cables that you use for a servo. And of course, now I can't find the screws I needed for this. What did I do with those? I know I had them in here somewhere. famous last words. I know they're here somewhere. Let's see. Well, I'll have to mount the control panel or control board a little bit later once I get some screws for it, but at least I know where it's going to sit now. I think we'll set it there instead. Check chat. Hey Bernard, good to see you. Exactly, John. Coming up shortly, I'm sure. Dennis, they close, and they have some like that are normal open and that you can push to close. The ones I'm using are their standard ones, and they're close. Let's see. I'm find the best way to explain it to you. I guess it's just get a toggle and show you. This is what the toggle looks like. The standard single light red green toggle. So every time I touch it, it'll change. And what it does is it changes from closed one way to closed the other way. It plugs into the board. So you've got your control board and you plug your toggle into that. And so when you touch this, it then takes the current through here and tells the tortoise which way to go, which current you're doing, depending on what the light says. And of course, if you want to change, say you want red on your diverging route and green on your through route, and it's doing the opposite, you just change the wires here or change them at your tortoise, either one, and it'll change direction for you. Very, very handy. Where it really came in handy was on the three-way turnouts. You use 3 of these. He has an adapter that plugs into the base. It plugs into 2 of these, but it has 3 outlets on it, or inputs on it, actually. And so you put your left, center, and right in your adapter. And when you touch the toggle for whichever route you want, it moves the turnouts automatically. Now there again, if they're backwards, when you do that, you got to do some, swapping of your wires. But that's why I like using these screw connections, and I use the snaps on the tortoises for that reason, because you don't have to unsolder it and move it over and all that stuff. You don't have to get a soldering iron under the table. So I just use all the screw terminals, and it makes my life much easier with that part of it. But that's how these work. If you want to see a good demonstration of them, go to Trackside Scenery. That's Joey Ricard's channel, tracksideScenery.com. He's got a YouTube channel, but he has a video where Kevin came out to his residence and actually installed a panel, the whole thing. And it's not a very long video. What he did was he printed out the tracks plan on a piece of paper. They put it behind a piece of glass on a little frame, kind of like what I'm doing. I'm using the paint with the chart tape and doing it that way, but you could do it under paper, glass and paper, and this will still change. So they're really a cool little thing. They're probably more expensive than double pole, double throws. But by the time you spend the time wiring up a double pole, double throw, if you figure your labor in, they're about the same price. So I like these a lot better. It's a lot less work. And that's why I've gone this way. They also make an adapter for for 3 Y switches, very similar to the 3-way turnout. But you just pick the route, the leg of the Y that you want to go, and it'll turn the turnouts automatically for you. You don't have to sit and say, okay, well, this one's that way and this one's got to be that way, and that sort of thing. So it comes in really handy. Yeah, and John, if you wanted to hear the cussing and swearing, I should have been on yesterday, because I was wiring up some of the LED lights on here, and I kept blowing the light on my sign for my diner. And I couldn't figure out why it was blowing. The rest of the lights on it were working fine. Well, the rest of the lights had built-in resistors, and I forgot to put one on the sign light. So I burnt 2 of them out before I figured out what was wrong. And that thing wasn't easy to mess with once I had it all together. But it's working now, so we're good to go. Okay, we're going to stick that one right there. There we go. Now stuff's falling apart. Pencil go. we go. I don't know how many of you guys saw Bill's last update where he was staining the plaster on his mountains on his O-scale ON3 layout. I'd never seen that done before, but man, it came out just with the first coat of stain. I thought looked really, really good. I'd never seen anybody use, wood stain for plaster, but this came out really nice. I am going to use some of his carving techniques that he showed when I get further around. I've got quite a bit more to do in that regard. And this is just bare plywood right here. It's been painted. This isn't, but this is. This is the road, the asphalt road. Did it like, oh yeah, over on what's neat. He showed how to do this, and it's really easy to do, and it makes a fantastic asphalt road. And then I stain it with that creosote stain that I use for a lot of the wood stain, or a lot of the wood staining that I do. Well, look at there, it fits. Who'd have thunk? Okay, I need a little clamp right there. Oh, I hear the dogs coming up here. Ah. Did they get away okay? They get away okay? My grandson is here. He's staying with me for the next couple of days because my wife and my daughter and my granddaughter are going to Kansas City to pick up men or something. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but they're going to see a play, I think. That will work just fine, just like that. Okay, come on, glue. Do that, and I'm gonna put a staple in it too. So now my frame of my panel will sit right on the face of this, and I'll just Velcro. I'll put a couple of strips of wood right here so I can put a couple of pieces of self-adhesive Velcro. I'll also staple those down so they make sure they don't come loose. But that way I can pull the panel off real easy if I need to without having to put hinges or something on it. The back is completely open. Let me bring this down here where you can see what I've been doing. Hopefully I'll get this right. Okay. So you can see the panels here. This is just a piece here to keep these spread the right distance. And then I'll have a piece come down on either side of this to put the Velcro on. The panel for, oh, there we go. I knew something was going to happen. That should make it easier anyway. Okay. So this is the board that the control board will sit on. And it'll sit right here. And then the toggles will just come right to the back of the control panel. So now I will take you down and show you if I can get this arranged here. There we go. I'll take you downstairs and show you the what the board's going to look like. It'll look like. Oh, let me turn this around. Camera. Oh no, not that way. Settings. There we go. Okay. Golly, what a mess. Okay. I'm not real crazy about StreamYard's camera settings. But anyway, there's the panel that I've got now. And the other one will look like this. It won't be quite this big. And then, of course, you can see where the other one's going to sit. It's right there. By the way, I will give you a little brief show of what I've done since my last update. So if y'all want to stick around for that. Anyway, bear with me while I travel downstairs. Into the messy workshop. Okay, so here is the panel I'm working on right now. Now this is a reverse view of it. This is the backside, the side that's painted. This is the way it'll look. Those will all be yellow. I still need to mask off the places where the toggles will be. And then it will go on in this frame. It's just a little metal frame. I think I picked this up for $5-6 at Hobby Lobby. But it's a good size. It's 6x4, 6x5, something like that, 7x5. And it's perfect for the size panel I needed for this. You could also do these. He's got toggles that actually mount in a 1-inch hole into the fascia. So you could put them in the fascia and just label them if you wanted to do that, and not even make a control panel. This is the chart tape. I think I've shown this before. Amazon, much cheaper. I got 2 rolls, 2 30-yard rolls of this for $5. If you buy it on eBay, it'll cost you about almost $20 a roll. And I don't even think it's that many yards on it. So get it on Amazon. Anyway, let's see. I was going to show you that. I showed you that. I think that's all I was going to show you down here. The messy workbench, one of the workbenches. There's another workbench over there. And this workbench. They're all very messy. But everybody here, I think, knows how that goes. I know there was something else I was going to show you while I was down here. Now I've forgotten what it is. Anyway, this little building right here is, they call it Dan's Welding, but I think I'm going to use it for a either equipment supply or maybe a tool supply for the roundhouse area. It's going to sit up close to the roundhouse upstairs. Okay, let's head back upstairs. And this is how I get my exercise, running back and forth. Okay, here's kind of an overview of the yard as it is right now. I've got the basic ground cover down is all. I've got a little bit of vegetation around the ice platform and one of the warehouses. I put some more asphalt down on this side. I think I showed all that in my update. Oh, but what I didn't show, this is what I've got done this weekend. Let me do this. Probably this. And I think I got to plug that in. Yes, I do. I've just got some temporary plugs rigged up here to turn stuff on. I'm going to have an entire setup right here to turn all the power on when I come in the room. But there are the lights. Not all of them, but the sand tower, the ice platform. Let's see if I can zoom in here and still hold it halfway straight. That's kind of a grainy picture, isn't it? Yeah, let's zoom back out. We'll just walk around to it. Got the sand tower put in. Gold tower, of course, is put in. I'm also going to put some lights back here in the yard itself. They'll be similar to what is in the lumber yard. But there's the icing platform. And some of the lights in the back there. Those are the kind of lights I'll put. I'm going to put some more in between some of the yard tracks back here. Hardware store, right at the lumber yard. Here's the diner. And that little light on top is the one I was really having trouble with getting to work properly. But it is now working. I even have a light back in the kitchen, although the kitchen's kind of askew there. Even have a light in the kitchen, so. And then lights over here at the junkyard. And the lights are really fun because they really bring out a lot of detail as far as what it feels like. It really feels like a real scene when you get lights on it and people on it. But still a long way to go with all of the lights and detailing. Anyway, that's kind of a sneak peek of what I've been doing. It's nice to have a lot more time to work on everything and not have to be going to work all the time. Of course, now I get to fight with Social Security and Medicare and all that fun stuff. So anyway, kind of see what it's like in the daytime. I got the parking lot done. I don't know if I showed that in the last update or not. Lumberyard's going to be named after my dad. And he was a carpenter and builder. So anyway, let me get this turned back around. Come here, where are you? Okay. I'm not sure what else I was going to do today up here. I wasn't planning on being by myself on the show. So forgive me if I'm a little boring today. Hope that's not an obstructed view. That's pretty good. Okay. Okay, so now chat. So if you got any questions, you know, you can ask me and I'll see if I can answer them. Hey, Steve Anderson and Randall. Good to see you guys. What happened, Dennis? What's the groan for? Oh, you thought you fell? Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, Terry Romine. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. This is not the best day. I just saw Allie came on. Hey, Allie.
Hey. How are we?
I had invited her on earlier, and she said she couldn't be here, so I wasn't looking for anybody.
That's all right.
Sorry about that.
Thought I'd give you a hand with chat. I can keep an eye on chat for you while you're working, if you like.
Yeah, well, Steve's in chat, but he's just not on the show. So, but I, you know, there again, I can't hear him.
I can relay stuff for you, though.
Well, Steve doesn't type loud enough. If he typed a little louder, I could hear him. Oh, Dennis, is that what you're saying, Dennis? Are you talking to me on that? Don't accuse you of copying? I don't know what you're going to copy me on, but I'm flattered. If you're copying me, I'm really flattered. And
they were talking earlier about. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say they were talking earlier about the price of fuel.
Yeah, I guess it's crazy. Although here, you know, that's the one thing about being in Oklahoma, we have always been blessed with lower gas than anywhere else in the country. Ours is, I think the other day I filled up, it was $3.68, which I know is a lot cheaper than the coast is. You type as fast as you can, but not loud enough that I can hear you.
You're not going deaf in your old age, are you?
Yeah. Not going deaf, am deaf. Am deaf. Anyway. Yeah, so if anybody's got any questions, holler, and I'll see if I can answer them. Oh, needed that. Okay. So we got this in. So the next thing I really need to do is get into the layout and wire stuff, but I'm not going to do that today because that's boring. And you really don't want to hear me getting underneath the layout. Because John would get his wish.
Carry on.
Say again?
Because you curse and carry on when you're under the layout?
Oh, yeah. Well, just trying to get around. Just trying to crawl through everything. Okay. I think I got it up loud enough. Yeah, it's I'm 6'2", and been a plumber for 40-something years and been in construction and all that stuff. The body is starting to give it up. I've got a really bad knee. My feet bother me. I'm standing on pads right now on a wood floor. I'll tell you how bad my feet are. And my back. Yeah, and I got the back brace on to prove that. So
yeah, I saw you had the brace on earlier.
You know, it's day to day. I told my wife when I don't have any pains in the morning, when I get up, I'll know I'm dead. That's just the way it is when you get older. Anyway, I kind of showed everything I think that I've done. I did have the loco on here. Running through here, I was wanting to check, make sure I had all the ballast out of the frogs and everything else, and I'm not sure I've completely done that yet, but I was playing around yesterday at the end of the day with some of that stuff. And Jason's gone, I think, but he was with me when I bought this. If you can see, you can't see it. I bought this caboose at the train show over in Arkansas, and I discovered yesterday that I'm going to have to put some shims on the trucks because these are almost a full height width too low. And I thought it was one of the other cars I had that maybe the coupler was too high, but then I got the gauge out and checked it, and it's these that are too low. So I'm gonna have to put a shim or two under the trucks to get it up high enough so that they hook up okay. It's not too bad with my GP7, but with this reefer that's sitting here on the track, and of course I can't get it on there. That's the other thing that goes out, is your eyesight, especially when you're trying to look at stuff in the dark. Yeah, I was going to put some more lights in here. I guess I could drill the holes for that. Show you where I'm going to put those. Move this around the other direction.
Maybe you should make that one the main one. Claude,
I lost your voice here. Hang on a second. There we go. Now, what'd you say?
I was just going to say, maybe you should make that Claude 2 the main one, if that's the one that everyone can see.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to
screen.
do. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip the camera around though, so I can turn this around on the stand. Okay, so now I can put it in like this, and it'll stay off the volume control. That's what happened when I put it in there. It took the volume away. It's not going to stay. Bear with me a second. I got to get something to hold that in there. The little rubber pad that came with this stand on here came off, and I've never put anything else on it, which I need to do, but I use a hard plastic case on my phone, and it just wants to slide right out if I'm not careful, because it pinches it so hard.
I had the same issue for mine, so
yeah.
I think they just made out of really, really cheap stuff, and they just designed to fail.
Yeah, it is really cheap stuff. Okay, let's see. Now I need to raise you up just a little bit. There you go. Anyway, I'm going to put some lights in here in the yard so you can watch me drill holes.
Are you going to put any lights in those the low relief buildings at the back there?
Yes.
That would look cool.
In fact, I've got lights in a lot of them. I didn't have about half of them plugged in when I showed you a minute ago. And the big red, this big red building here, I've got 2 lights on it, but I don't have it wired in yet. But yeah, I don't know if you can see, you can't see it. Let me turn this around. This will be easier probably. So
that's a nice.
This one has 2 recessed lights. This one has a light over the door. This one has a recessed light. Then there's another light pole here. And that'll be all the lights on that. I'll probably put a light pole back over here somewhere. But right now, that's all that's in it.
That's cool.
We'll do it that way. I just feel like I'm missing chat when I'm not watching it.
So far, all I can see is Steve 87th, Steve Anderson, talking about meetings and stuff. The poor bugger's been going since 5:30.
That's good for him. Bernard says, I'm going to my first layout show next week. It's engaged, but hey, it's trains and planes. Oh, and planes. Cool. They used to have a show here. We used to do when I was in the flying club. It was actually I'm trying to remember what they called it. It was more a creator's show. So if you made a product or you had a hobby that was a hands-on building stuff kind of thing, because they had one group that was actually G-scale trains, but they had them on modules. And they had them there. Then we were there with our airplanes. And then they had stuff like robotic people and, oh God, all kinds of stuff. Crafts of all kinds. But it was a really good show. And we'd go out there, be there at 5 in the morning and wouldn't leave until 6. So, stand on the concrete that long is not good on you. But yeah, it was a really good show, and it was similar to that. Had airplanes, had trains, had cars, had RC cars there, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, our annual show, we just had the notice come out, the official notice saying that our annual show has been cancelled this year. The committee was not keen on the chance of us having another lockdown and losing funds and putting members and elderly in our community at risk if there's any kind of, because we're hitting an Omicron outbreak at the moment. We're getting close to hitting the peak now, but yeah, they're just scared that the next wave will come and we'd lose $30,000 like that just for cancelling the day before if we had a lockdown or something like that.
Well, like I say, that show that I was telling you about, they haven't had that for the last couple of years that I know of, but I'm not in the club anymore, so I probably wouldn't hear about it otherwise, even if they had it. And I've got 2 different kinds of lights here. These, they're similar, but this one's a double light. Let me see that. There we go. We can see it.
Cool.
Yeah, these are really nice. They're from China, but the only ones that haven't worked that I've tested were the ones I screwed up. So all the other light poles are these singles, and I really like these too. The ones I have on the loading dock or the ice dock here are like this, except they're a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter, and they look really good on there. They look like what you'd see on a fishing dock here in the States.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw your last update on that ice platform, because it was in the dark and you just had the lights on the actual model. And yeah, the first thing I thought of was, that looks like a fishing dock.
Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like.
Just need a couple of guys with some rods sitting on the edge with their feet dangling and
fishing for trains.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
So anyway, this is the other one I've got that I like. So anyway, I've got the road here that comes all the way over right here, right now to the computer, almost to the roundhouse, that ties back in with these. And of course, it's going to go on around over to the meat packing plant and the cattle pens and all that mess. And it'll have street lights along it like this. I got these because I wasn't sure, these doubles I got because I wasn't sure if I was going to use, how I was going to do the streets at the time. And I thought if I had a street wide enough, these could sit in the middle. These doubles would be a good one to sit in the middle median of the street and light up both sides. But I may use some of these like around the roundhouse, that sort of thing, put in. This light here has a little better wiring on it, a little heavier wiring because there's 2 lights. They've already put the diode or the resistor on it, which is nice. But they also send you resistors. Like this pack that come with this, they send you resistors for every light. So you don't have to go buy resistors, which is nice. This particular one has, my black shirt doesn't work very well, does it? Get up there on my bald head, you can see it. Has a little two-pin plug, but what I'm doing is just getting it orientated right, and then put some heat shrink over it, and then cutting these pins off on this end. These are set to go in like a board. They sell a board too, just distribution board that you could plug these into, but they're not long enough unless everything's sitting real close together. They're not long enough to reach the board. So I just cut them off and add my other hookup wire to it, and then I can run it to where I need to run it to, and I can make it however long I want it. That way I've got my distribution board in one spot and run all my wires to it. Just makes it a lot easier. But the main thing I got it for was the post, and they've got a real nice brass bottom on them, threaded bottom. So they're fairly stout. The wires are really, really thin, but these are stout. And of course, they've got the nuts that go up on here too, but I'm not using those. I'm just sticking them in the plywood and gluing them down. But anyway, this is the lights I got. The guy on eBay I got those from, his store is called We Be Honest. Which sounds kind of funny. They're Chinese, I'm sure. Well, I know they are. They come from China. But like I said, all of them that I've gotten so far that I've tested have worked just fine. Haven't had a problem with any of them except the one that I screwed up. So anyway, let me get a drill here and I will drill some holes.
Welcome to Hillbilly Railroad as well. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Hillbilly.
Hello, John.
Good to see you.
Tanzillo. Bernard C., Steve Anderson, Randall Ellison, Lynn McCurdy, Daniel Banks, Dennis at Otter Creek and Rio Grande, and of course Steve Arnold. Just thought I'd say hello to everybody that's still in chat. We're not ignoring you.
Yeah. I'm looking at chat now, see if there was any questions that anybody wanted answered. Okay, now I've just got to decide where I want to put them.
Those little lamps that you were just showing, Claude, they're from China, right? They're the China ones?
They are made in China. And anybody that if you see them, you'll see them on eBay also, saying they're shipping from somewhere in the States. They're getting them from China. Trust me. There's nobody in the States making these. And I guarantee you Woodland Scenics are probably made in China too. All their Just Plug stuff. I'll bet you it's
I'm pretty sure it is.
So much of this little stuff like this is all manufactured there because they can get it cheaper. Now, that may start to change, who knows, with the political climate, but, but it is, it is where you get most of this kind of stuff. Oh, come out of there. Get out of there.
Well, I'm having trouble just getting stuff sent from the States or from the UK to Australia. Australia's been shocking at the moment. And you should see some of the shelves, especially here in WA, because everything gets sent over east first. So it gets sent to Sydney and distributed from there. And a couple of months back, we had a big floods in South Australia, which cut the main railway line across the Nullarbor, which is the main way we get a lot of our freight and goods across to Western Australia. So we had that was out for 2 or 3 weeks, and they're saying that with the backup and backlog, because people went silly at the shops, and my brother still can't even buy cat food for his cats. We just got nothing in the shops at the moment. That didn't sound good at all, Claude.
Like the shirt that I've got that says, I'm pretty sure my last words will be, well, shit, that didn't work. Let me show you what I just did. Can you see that?
Oh, what's
Yeah,
that
you know what
from?
that is, don't you? That's tortoise
What did you
guts right
melt?
there. That's tortoise guts. I didn't melt anything. I drilled right down into the
Oh, it's
tortoise.
from a
I
tortoise
thought I was
motor.
plenty clear of it, but I wasn't.
Oh no.
And it's not just the plastic either. There's metal pieces on there too. So I'm sure I got down in the middle. I might have gotten a screw. I'll get under there and look. It may just be a screw. If it's just a screw, it won't be a problem. But I thought I was clear enough of it, but I wasn't. Oh, that figures, doesn't it?
Oh no.
Well, I'll have to give you an update on that later. I'm not going to do it right now.
Have you got spares?
Oh, I got plenty. I say plenty. I've got several here. I probably have another 12 or 13 of them over there. Because I've got a lot more track to put in. So, you know, the whole top level's not in yet. Well, most of the top level's not in yet. But yeah, don't do that. Make sure you're clear.
Here's what not to do.
Exactly. I'm good
Steve,
at that.
Steve Anderson says you killed a turtle. You monster.
I did. Oh, no, I think that went right into the tortoise. Ah.
But they should be fairly easy to swap out, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just $20 down the drain, but you know,
Yeah.
it's like drilling through a $20 bill. And it could have been avoided if I'd have just paid more attention. That's what happens when I'm doing this while I'm talking.
Steve Anderson's putting up little turtle pictures now.
Put up little bloody turtles, huh?
You
Dead
monster.
Turtles? Yeah. Dead turtles. Well, I'm also looking so I don't hit supports I've got going across there.
Maybe you should get the tri-square out, measure it.
That's irritating.
It's the first time I've ever seen someone drill down into a tortoise, though, to be honest. I don't think I've ever seen someone do that before.
I thought I was plenty clear of it, so it's the first time I've ever done it.
Yeah, even Dennis says, poor turtle.
Oh, well, you know, there's always something fun going on the show. I'll make some noise here in just a second. See if I can knock something over on my ice platform. That'd be real good.
I thought KD was made in China as well. Randall Ellison is saying that KD and Accural are made in the USA. I thought KD was starting to make stuff in China.
Oh, KD couplers?
Yeah, KD as in KD couplers.
Yeah, KD's in the States. In fact, KD's up there by Steve, I think, in Oregon.
I thought some of their stuff was made in China.
I don't think so. I think it's all made here, but you know, I haven't looked.
I know.
I couldn't tell you that for sure. But
I know Microtrains is made in the US.
Yeah, Microchains is right there by Steve too.
Yeah. And I know Accural is definitely made in the US.
I miss that tortoise.
Oh, now you're going to make everyone sad.
Yeah, see, and I don't know if that's going to have enough clearance. It might. I don't think it will. I think Loco would hit that. That's probably going to have to be a single or turn it that way. Yeah, I'd probably go with a single there. I did want a light
Well,
right there, but
that's what we did with the lights in our Newcastle layout. Is we had them all running parallel to the track. That stopped them from. Well, it meant that the light was spread further as opposed to just spraying light over the track, because you really
yeah,
want the light to go where the people are going to be walking, and people aren't going to be walking on the tracks. They'll be walking
sure.
between the tracks.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I did want some over by that crossover. That's where I was going to put this one in here by one of the three ways. Obviously, it's not going to sit right there. after I bury that turtle, I'll have to put another one in there.
You're going to have a funeral service for it and everything.
Yeah, you're going to have to, I guess. Well, that means I need to drill another hole, but I've got to get. See, the problem is my control panel's right here, so it's hard to look straight back there. I don't have my fascia on over here yet, so it makes it a little easier to look in there. But with the control panel here, that's
Well,
blocking.
perhaps that's what you need to do. You need to make sure that all your wiring's done before you put your control panel in, just in case. So it'll save you having to keep ducking behind it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I haven't put it up on this side yet. But I want to get to that point. That's why I want to get this put in. Because the only thing I have left to do down on this end, where I put the new control panel stand, is bring all the wires together for the tortoise, all the tortoises there. The lights
ones
are
that
already
work
done.
anyway.
I'm sorry?
The ones that work anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones you haven't drilled through.
But yeah, I want to get all that done before I put those pieces in over there. Same thing with this. I want to get the vast majority of crawling in and out done before I put up fascia board. Because I was going to do it a long time ago, and I thought, it's silly because then it's that much lower I got to get down underneath it all. So I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, you want to save your back a bit, don't you?
As much as possible, yes.
And
it's been pretty good since I quit working. It's not nearly as sore all the time as it was. But anyway. Okay, where did I drill?
Yeah, chat's still talking about stuff that's made in the US. They're saying, I think, is made in the US too.
Yeah.
Was Bowser bought recently? I thought they were bought by Athearn or something like that recently. Or maybe I'm thinking of another one. Because Athearn's definitely, a lot of their stuff is definitely made in China.
Oh, Athearn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff. Blackstone's engines are built in China. That's why I've been waiting on two of the newer engines for 3 years. Because I had problems with production with the company that was producing them.
Not that I have a problem with stuff made in China. Pretty much everything in Australia that you buy ready to run now is made in China, and it's really good quality stuff. It's just that
some of it can be. It all depends on the company and what they're doing on this end, on our end, to assure the quality control is still there. I've seen 2 or 3 videos on that sort of thing. So that's one of the big things with the Chinese made stuff is what's the quality control like?
Well, even Ozcision is having a lot of quality control issues with their stuff. They've actually started selling like a seconds box where some of this stuff that they've had returned, they just sell as you can buy it for spare parts sort of thing. It's cheaper than your normal locos, and pretty much all of it's there, but they might be missing a horn or missing a grill here and there, something that's fallen off.
And so it's cheaper for them to do that than it is to try and send it back.
Yeah.
And get it replaced or refunded or whatever.
No, Dennis, he hasn't killed another innocent turtle.
No, but I keep thinking I'm going to.
Down.
Yeah, I got turtle guts up here on the layout. Yeah, look at this. You see that there? You see the green? Where's my deal here? What happened here? Okay. Yeah, see turtle guts all over the tracks. And I could have sworn
that's going to be a new shirt for you, Claude. Make sure you check for turtles. Check for turtles on the tracks.
Steve would probably buy that one.
Well, he wouldn't buy the re-railer one.
No, he's not going to buy that one. I don't know where that's showing. Okay. That took all my energy out right there, because I know I got to crawl into there and take that out now.
The regret is seeping in.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I had Ted here, my friend here, up on top here, telling me, you know, when I was putting the tortoises in, to make sure I had the points over where they needed to be and stuff. And because I found just trying to measure them from track center and get them to work right doesn't work as well. I like to be under there, have somebody up here knowing what they have to do, hold the tortoise in place, and then manually move it over and make sure it's going both ways and has enough tension both directions, because otherwise they won't hold as well. But because you'll think you have
Steve Arnold just called you a turtle killer.
Yeah, that's right.
You murderer.
Yeah, I did that one. Got everything but blood on it.
Well, he's got turtle guts on the track.
I can't believe I did that. Oh. So anyway, so now I'm going to turn the vacuum on again, so I can't hear anybody.
Bye-bye, turtle guts.
What was that cartoon strip with the girl, Kathy? You know, she'd always go, ah! That's kind of what I feel like. Can get that down through there.
Steve Anderson says you need to put some hobos there making soup.
Turtle soup, yeah. There you go.
Turtle soup.
Turtle soup. Yeah, those will look good in there when I get them all in there like that. And like I say, I still got a lot of detail to do on the ground cover stuff. I just started putting in static grass patches in some places, and still need some more ground cover. But this is what you see is just the basic stuff right now. Of course, the cork was painted brown. The track was sprayed not black, but a really dark brown camo color. And then I've got the ballast that I'm using on the main line in here very sparingly, because in their yards, the ballast is almost non-existent. You go to Chama, New Mexico, and there's hardly any gravel there at all. It's all dirt and
earth ballast.
Yeah, exactly. Now up on the main line, you know, when they're running out of town and stuff, a lot of that has got ballast on it. But in the yard, it's still the old, just in the dirt. I mean, I'm sure there's some ballast in it, but there's a lot of dirt in it when you walk through the yard.
That's what a lot of our branch lines were made out of. They basically just pushed the side of the dirt, because it was put down on gravel, and they just pushed the gravel up the side to hold it all in place. They just really didn't actually run down there with proper ballast trains or anything like that. But they were very light branch lines, so only light locos could actually on them.
Well, that's the way
a lot of them are closed
lines
now.
were, you know. they're much lighter weight, even though they're running K36s and K37s on them, which are much heavier than the K27s were.
But they've still got their weight
big.
fairly spread out.
Do what?
They would have their weight spread out, wouldn't they? Because they're 282s.
Yeah, they're 282s, and they're outside frame. So the wheels are on the inside of the frame. And I mean, there's a bunch of the engine hangs off outside of each rail. So there's a lot of weight there still, even though they're spread out. The weight's still down on the rail, and the rail's still only 3 foot wide. And the rail is, it's probably heavier now than it was, when it was first put in. It was probably much lighter rail, but it's still not as heavy a rail as you'd see on a main line here in the States. And of course, if you look down the line, you go to one of the road crossings and you look back down the line, that rail's just like this. All the way down. And if you watch a train come down, that train just rocking back and forth. Yeah. What's really wild, I've pulled out some pictures I found. I just found them yesterday on a flash drive I had. I didn't know if I had. And it was from when my wife and I went to Durango the first time and rode Durango Silverton. There's a spot just past the High Line where they have a railroad rail driven down vertically, and then corrugated panels put up along those, and it's filled with gravel fill, and the train is on that. And looking outside the window, I took the picture straight down, and there's maybe that far from the side of the train to where it goes straight down. My wife wouldn't want to know that, but that's what it was.
I've seen some of those images.
It's not a real long stretch, but that's why they go really, really slow on that High Line, because they're so high above the water. If they fell off, it'd kill everybody in there. And
easily,
most of it's on solid rock, so there's not a problem with that. But there's one spot that they had to fill, and they've evidently done a pretty good job of it, because it's, we went over it, and it was a pretty good sized train. There's probably 10 or 11, 12 cars on our train, plus the engine, and they all went over it. But we were going, 5 miles an hour over that section. The Chama Antonito train, the cumbersome toll tag, it's only about 10 mile an hour, less than 10 mile an hour average for 70 miles. It takes a while to make that trip. It takes all day, because so much of it is on the edge of a, embankment, or where drop off is, or really, really steep. So they go fairly slow in most places until they get up just south of Antonito. It's up on the flat, and they can go a little faster there, but they still don't go, like a mainline train would go at all. But
Bernard C says,
do what?
I was just saying, Bernard C says, pucker factor on that High Line, huh?
Oh, yeah, if you're afraid of heights, especially. And then on the cumbersome toll tech, you go under some boulders that are overhanging the track above the train. And I was just sitting there thinking, if it chose to come off right now, I'd take this train right down the valley with it. But it's been there for, forever, however long that line's been sitting there. So I don't worry about that kind of stuff. It's like when I get in an airplane, flying doesn't bother me. If it's going to crash, it's going to crash. It's just my time to go. I don't get crazy. It doesn't do any good to worry about it, for sure. So if I'm going to do it, I do it. And if I'm not going to do it, then I don't do it. If I'm too worried, I don't get in it.
Remember, falling isn't what kills you. It's the sudden stop at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, what's funny too is the Silverton Durango, the High Line is where they filmed Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid jumping off. You know, they actually filmed the stuntman jumping off the cliff, right? I don't know if you've seen the movie. They get up there and Robert Redford goes, he goes, I can't swim. He was hesitant. And Paul Newman says, what's wrong? And he said, I can't swim. And he said, he looks down at the river and it's, you know, a couple 100 feet down or something like that. And he said, hell, the fall alone's going to kill you. So it's all perspective.
It's if you don't have a heart attack on the way down.
Say what?
That's if you don't have a heart attack on the way down. That will kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So they're talking Athearn Blue Box stuff.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. That conversation came about when we were talking about stuff made in China.
Bernard, I will try. Allie sent me a picture that I'm going to show Saturday. And then I've got I'll see if I can't pull that picture out again of what I was talking about on the High Line there, and can show you that. Because it is looking straight out, you know, just over the side of the car, straight down. And you can see the river down there, and it's quite a ways down. Okay.
That's exactly what I said, Steve Anderson. It's not the fall, it's the sudden stop at the end.
I don't think I'm going to drill that one. Not yet, anyway.
You're not going to live that one down.
Well, I don't want to ruin another one. You know, I thought I was plenty clear of that one, but evidently I was not. Well, and I should have known better. You know, if you were going, if I'd have put them in the center of the tie, the throw bar, I'd have been plenty far enough over. But a lot of my turnouts are not right in the center, in between the rails, where the wire comes up to control it. They're off to the side. And
it's a smart move.
Well, sometimes it's for positioning sake. And when you're talking about these three ways, the points are so close together for the 2 points that you have to flip them around backwards. And they're only offset a little bit. So if you can offset them a little bit more with the throw, with the ties, see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, they'll see that. Let me do it this way. I'll hold it and be shaky. Okay. I keep getting stuff on my phone here. Okay, let me do this. Here's what I need to do. Okay. So here you've got a three-way turnout. So I've got one coming up here. One wire comes up here to control this point. The other one's over here on this side. But those still have to be back to back in there. You don't have enough room to put them both the same direction. And so when I did this one, okay, this one's here. Now, here's where I made the mistake. Had this one been over here on this side and this one had been over here, I'd have been fine. But I didn't take the time to pay attention to where the wire was coming up. The wire on this one comes up right there off the end of my finger. So you can see that's where that tortoise is sitting like this, back this way. And I went right down and probably in the center of it, real close. I may pull that out for Saturday's show. Show everybody that.
It's always good to have an example of what not to do.
Yeah, don't be careful. Don't do this. Yeah, but it, you know. Oops.
It's a good learning experience.
Yes. Unfortunately. Sometimes I don't like learning.
An expensive learning experience, but an learning experience nonetheless. Exactly.
But anyway. Yeah, that took all the wind out of me today. I'm kind of depressed now. More for the fact that I got to get under there and change it out than anything else. It was working fine. I tried all these. Okay, here I get off the soap. The wrong way. Get over here
But
and
it
do it.
shouldn't be too hard. You should just be able to unscrew it and then screw a new one in. You wouldn't have to do too much adjustment because the adjustment's already been made.
Yeah, it won't be a problem with that. It's just getting under the layout for me anymore.
But it'll be
Crawling
less
under.
time under there.
Say again.
It'll be less time under there than you would have spent the first time.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I won't need any help doing it because I'll put it in. I get the wire through the hole of the throw bar. It'll be in the right spot, and then all I got to do is slide it over to where the screw holes are and put the screws back in. In fact, I'll probably leave 2 of the screws in there and slide it back over it.
Yeah.
It's just, like I say, it just irritates me. I did it. But
well, don't you have to get under there anyway to do the wiring for those lights at the back?
yeah, those are over. See, I keep doing this. Those are over on the, well, over a little bit further. I should just keep that camera. See, they're over here. This is way over here. Yeah, I do have to get under there for that. And I do have, there's, I think this crossover still needs, the wires just need to be connected. They're there. I just need to connect them. I need to put we found one turnout or one tortoise. This tortoise right here was that I'd had in there for a while. It was giving us a short when we were putting all this in back in the back. And we traced it to that tortoise. Now the tortoise still works. If you put an external power supply on it, it'll move just fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the problem was there, and I got to put it back in too and check it out, see what's going on. Then this one right here, I had a crossover here because I was going to come off with some more track this way, but I decided not to. And this just comes in. But the thing is, this comes in, and then the only place the narrow gauge goes is to the lumber yard.
Okay.
Oh, it does to share the track on the crossing here. But I had to put points in it because the narrow gauge is on this side of the track.
And when it changes sides.
It has to have a point there. Now this one doesn't have a point because there's, it automatically separates them. I don't know if you can see that, how those points are arranged there, but there's no moving parts there.
Yeah. Those
just come off like they're supposed to. And it works fine. Same thing with this one. This one here is the same way. This comes off and starts up the hill, up the mountain. And then this, of course, goes back to the loop. This one, of course, has points because it's going to change over and go back into the yard.
Gauge.
Yeah. So that's one thing when you're doing dual gauge, you have to kind of pay attention to what side the narrow gauge is going to be on. Because like when you're going to put two, and I talked about this a long time ago in one of my videos. Let me get in here where you can see it a little better. This one, where you've got a crossover, okay? So when you put your dual gauge turnouts down, one's the narrow gauge on the left, the other one's narrow gauge on the right, so that they match up here. See, they're both on the outside part. Well, this one's facing this way, so it's narrow gauge on the left. This one's narrow gauge on the right.
To be,
So they'll match up in the middle. Now, they do make transition tracks that you can do stuff, but you wouldn't want to do that here. I guess you could if it's a long enough crossover, but you wouldn't want to have to try and do that on a short crossover at all.
Here in Perth, Western Australia, we've got the main line that goes from Perth to Midland is dual gauge, but for the narrow gauge platforms, they've had to put the standard gauge on the outside, so both the narrow gauges are on the inside tracks. And when they do a crossover, in the middle of the crossover, they actually have a transition from one side to the other. And it's the strangest thing looking at a narrow gauge train negotiate that crossover with the transition from one side to the other in the middle, because it does this funny little fishtail thing as it crosses over.
the shorter the distance it has to negotiate that crossover, as far as the transition from one side of the track to the other, it would really make a really squirrely S curve in there. A couple of
Yeah,
them.
there is one like that. I'll try and see if I can find the video of it. But it was really interesting.
Because if you get, of course, narrow gauge not going to have any real long wheelbase unless they're articulated. And there's only, well, let's see, Sumter Valley Lumber Company, I think, had one articulated, kind of like the Uinta Railway. Uinta Railway in Utah was, they were articulated tank engines. And that one's got some pretty tight curves on it, but those articulators take it just fine. But they're much smaller than what you would say, see in a standard gauge train too.
Are those articulated narrow gauge?
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's the only articulated narrow gauge I've ever seen, or have been those two examples. There may be some others out there I don't know of, but yeah. But when you're talking about dual gauge track, you've got to keep all that kind of stuff in mind. And I'm sure they did when they were building the original stuff too. But anyway.
Yeah, I think I found where they did the concrete version.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm going to crawl into there and fix that. Yeah, it wouldn't have bothered me if the metal hadn't come up with it. I probably would have thought I just skirted that, but I bet I went right down the center of it. Got the electronics in the middle. I'll send it back for say there's something wrong with this turnout motor.
Yeah, it's got a great big hole in it.
Yeah, what is this? Anyway, oh, yeah, that kind of killed my mood today. Anyway, thanks for showing up, guys. Both jigs, left and right. Yes, I do, Dennis. They're number 6 dual gauge. If you would like to borrow them, just let me know. I can surely let you borrow them. But I have both left and right, and it's this turnout right here. So like the narrow gauge right, there's a left and right turnout for that. And then the narrow gauge left, there's a left and right turnout. So it's actually 4 different turnouts on 2 jigs. They're number 6s. So if you would like to borrow those instead of buying them, I would be happy to let you do that. Okay. Well, anyway, any other questions?
Dennis is saying a short killed his mood for the whole week, so I'm sure he knows how you feel.
Oh yeah, I saw Dennis's problems on that. I know that too. Well, that's like I said, that tortoise, it took us an hour to find that short. I just had taking stuff loose until I found it. There wasn't any way to trace it other than that. And I was shocked when I found out it was, when I pulled the snap off of there that was all wired up, I pulled it off the bottom of the tortoise and we're just fine. I took another tortoise and put it on that, a new one, and it didn't short. So I don't know what the problem is with that particular tortoise, but when I hooked it to just the power pack after I took it out, it worked fine. It wasn't shorting.
No.
So I don't know what the problem was. Anyway.
Bernard says, from your airplane bombing days, Claude, bullseye, frog turtle in a blender.
Yeah, well, I didn't go down through the frog, but I did get the turtle.
It'll be interesting when you pull it out to see where exactly you did
is,
get
and
through.
I'll pull it out, and you'll get to see it Saturday. So look forward to that. And like I say, I'll find those 2 other pictures, and I'll get that all set up, and we can show those.
That other picture was me just mucking around because I saw one of our Watco Australia. Watco's an American company, by the way.
Yeah.
Watco Australia T classes shunting around in Perth, And I thought, black and yellow. What else is black and yellow? Oh yeah, back on tracks, black and yellow.
Okay.
So I just thought that suits it.
Yeah, I'll just turn that off. I'm gonna set this down. Yeah, it was kind of neat looking. I figured it was something you just kind of stuck together when you saw that other engine.
I found a side. I was trying to find a side-on picture of the actual T-Class, and I couldn't get a side-on shot. So I just found a drawing of a T-Class and painted it in, because that was the easiest way to get it. I put a link in the chat to that crossover diagram too, Claude, if you're interested.
Oh,
well, it's not the diagram; it's the they had to replace it with a concrete one because it was originally wood. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting, I think, for you, because it's 3'6" and 4'8.5", and because the two standard gauges are on the outside, they've had to put this crossover in the middle.
Yeah, I'll look at that. Because I'm sure that is interesting.
And it's the strangest thing when you see a train go over it.
Dennis, you say you have the left jig, the narrow gauge on the left. I'm not going to be building any more that I know of. I've got all the standard gauge stuff built, unless I modify. Well, I say I do. When I get over here to the cattle yard, I may have some more I've got to do, because I do have dual gauge coming off for that. So I will have to separate. I will have to build one more to separate it somehow, but because I want them separated, I want the standard coming in on one and the narrow on another for all that mess. But anyway, well, I'm going to go cry in my beer now, and the wife's gone all weekend. It may start early. Happy hour may start early. Anyway,
happy hours whenever you say it is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Sorry I was late.
Always interesting, I tell you. Always interesting. Hey, Dave.
He says turtles are an endangered
species. Yeah, on my layout, evidently they are.
Yeah, you got to watch out for the claws.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Anyway, it's a good thing I can laugh at myself.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to live it
somewhere.
down,
Steve said it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and that's true.
Well,
anyway, you guys, thanks for coming.
11:41 here.
Yeah, it's 1:41.
11:41.
11:41 at night.
11:41 here, so you can drink. All right, take care, everybody.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for showing up, guys, and thanks for helping out, Allie. We'll see you guys later.
Not a problem.
Bye.